Hello and welcome back to the Cocoa Blend podcast. I am your host, Jamie Newton Knight, and today we have another special guest. I call her Chrissy. Her name is Christina Massey. I am definitely going to allow her to introduce herself, but first, I just wanted to welcome you for all of those who are new here. Welcome. If you are a returning guest, then I say welcome back. So, Chrissy, maybe I should share a little backstory. So, Chrissy and I were in high school together and we were friends and we shared a lot of yearbook stories and we passed notes a lot, that stuff. So, we know each other. We know each other. So, I'm going to let Chrissy introduce herself and then we are going to get down into the story.
Hello, everyone. My name is Christina Massey. As Jamie said, she calls me Chrissy. I go by Chrissy. I am a homemaker, a business owner, mom, of course, and now a grandma. I have 5 children. They are all grown now, which is a blessing. And they have children now, a total of 11 grandchildren from 4 of the 5. And that's pretty much it.
And are you a bio or bonus mom or both?
I am both.
How many are your bio children?
I have one biological and 4 stepchildren.
And you said 11
11
grandchildren?
grandchildren.
Oh my,
Have none yet, so
that
I'm a
is a
legend.
busy life.
It is. They're in different states, so it kind of gives us a chance to travel a little bit here and there. We haven't been to Texas and Hawaii yet, but we've been
Ooh,
to North Carolina and Columbia, South Carolina. We're doing pretty good.
nice. Oh my goodness. Yeah, well, look at that. Listen, as this podcast goes, I know that I'll be learning some more of the story that I did not know before. So I'll be learning right along with you all
Oh
the
yeah.
listeners. So Chrissy, you described your family unit as complicated but a work in progress. Explain that a little bit.
So in the beginning, getting married to someone who had children and an ex-spouse, and then me who had a child with a previous partner, it was complicated. Like I had to blend the emotions of kids coming from a divorce and their dad not being in the home with them anymore. And then with the biological son, the same type of thing, his dad not being in the same state, wanting to go sometimes, or how kids go, oh, I'd rather be with them, just those type of emotions and feelings, and to be able to combat it was not always easy, and you try to share responsibilities on both sides, which wasn't always easy as well, but the kids got along great.
Isn't that wonderful? The kids got along just fine. But yeah, sharing that responsibility, especially when the parents are in two different states, definitely difficult. I can imagine what that was like. Whew. All right. So I could see how it could be a little bit complicated, especially you merging with two families. You know, you got other little kids coming in. But the funny thing to me is often, I won't say always, is often that the children easy breezy.
Yes,
It's
it's
other
always, it
people
seems like
involved.
that don't know how to be adults. But it got easier and easier as they got older because they were able to voice their opinion a little bit
Yeah.
more without being disrespectful. There was times that it got borderline, but they had to understand that this is your primary residence and this is your temporary summer vacation type residence. It got a little bit easier. One of them, we ended up taking in due to school and everything. So I had 2 boys in the house living together, which was not hard. It was just cooking more food. So both of them playing sports. So it was
Oh,
one of
yeah.
those you had to fuel the body. So, but overall, as far as the kids went, the kids weren't difficult at all. It was just the communication with the adults. That was, I would say, my biggest challenge.
Okay. So during the process, you would say you struggled most with rejection and communication from,
I would say both parties I had to deal with, like my previous partner and his previous partner, and like just communicating, just simple things. There was no nice communication back, like don't worry about them, but not in those nice words. None of your
mm,
concerns, stuff like that. And just having the other one just communicate was, another deal. So, but yeah, I mean, like I said, it got easier with time because you knew what to deal with, what you didn't have to deal with, and what wasn't worth communicating.
right. So that I think that's like when the epiphany happens for you, it's like, okay, for my own peace of mind, my own sanity, for me setting boundaries for myself, this is how I'm going to deal with things moving forward. Yeah. So you found your spot, you found your way.
My safe zone to where you could go to a collaborated birthday party and say hello and leave it at that. You didn't have to try to be overly friendly or anything because you already knew how that person felt, and you were there for the kids, and you needed to understand you were there for the kids, and that's it.
Keep it about the kids, y'all. It's about these kids, not about our own personal feelings or egos.
Not
Put
at
that stuff
all.
to the side. I still don't understand why grown-ups can't just,
Get
like you said,
along.
you don't got to be friends, but I mean, y'all not together anymore. So at some point, at
Let it
least,
go. Yeah.
yeah.
And you know, with me growing up from my parents when I was 2 years old, so the beginning years when I was younger, I didn't understand. When I got older, I started to understand. But I guess in my mind, if I ever had to deal with that situation, I felt it was understood that the adults communicated and it was like easy and it was like, you need anything? No, I don't need anything. Call for recipes. Like my mom and my dad and my stepmom. My stepmom would call my mom for recipes. My dad would call my mom for recipes. So I guess that was my fairy tale that, okay, if I ever have to deal with this, this is how it's gonna be.
Right.
Yeah, no, not at all. Not at all.
Not really a
Not at all.
fairy tale, because like I said, my feeling is that it should be that way. And it maybe not even to the extent of like, let's share recipes, but I mean, let's share a common space.
Yeah,
Can we be in the
yeah,
same house
definitely.
at the same time? Can we go to the kids events together? Can we be in a birthday party together and speak and be cordial and be like, what is it taking away from you to do that? I don't understand.
Yeah, when the kids were younger, it was like, well, why didn't they speak to you? Oh, baby, I don't know. It's okay. And you had to like kind of sweeten it up and use the pleasant voice when you knew all along, even though you weren't the cause of their split or whatever, it's just that some people don't communicate well, is the way I looked at it. It was like, okay, well, we're not going to communicate. That's fine.
So that's getting into the story without getting into the story. So I'm going to let you share your story about where it all started and how you became blended or co-parenting. And I told you, Chrissy, I'm gonna try to keep quiet over here.
Let's see. We got married back in 20 July 2022, and we had ceremony which I really wanted all the kids to be in. Well, that didn't happen. They weren't allowed to be in the ceremony. They weren't allowed to be at the ceremony. They weren't allowed to be at the reception because the divorce decree said, that clause to the effect of you can't have them around your paramour. So they considered me still a paramour, even though it was our wedding day. License was signed, officially married, and some of his family wanted to see the kids. Yeah, no, that didn't happen either. It was, they're going to have to come to my house to see if they want to see them. Okay, no problem. And dandy. We went on a honeymoon, got a phone call like a couple of days before we got back from the honeymoon. Oh, we're moving. The kids are excited, but we don't want to leave you. And yeah, no notification. Yeah, it was crazy. I'm telling you, you get back from a honeymoon and it's like you're scrambling to say your goodbyes type of deal. Try to make arrangements to meet halfway. We were driving 6 hours to pick them up, 6 hours to come back home. Sometimes it was just 3 hours. We would meet halfway on their terms. Sometimes it was inconvenient. Sometimes it was convenient. We just made it work. We made the best of it so we could see the kids. They were always excited to see each other. The kids, they played video games, slept, ate, whatever, and then they had friends here, so they still got to see other friends. As years went on, we did the kids would call and be like, can you come to our sweet 16, or can you come to a football game, or things like that. So we would make it work. We drive 6 hours, go to the game, stay overnight, turn around, come back. So we made it work. I mean, no matter what situation it put us in as a whole, we know we needed to be there for the kids. So that was always our top priority. Make sure we're there for the kids. No issues, no arguments, no nothing. So we did the best of what we had. We grew together, the kids grew with us. They got older, we went to graduations, babies were born, grandkids started coming, more graduations. So it was an eventful time, but I can say I got lost in those times to where I can look back now and say I should have put me first in a lot of situations, and like I would attend stuff and feel uncomfortable or left out, not in the sense that my spouse left me out, but just being around the other person's family, I just felt left out. Like nobody would talk to me, nobody would say hello and stuff like that. So it was like I was just like standing in the corner, whatever, letting people, whatever. They would speak to him, standing right next to me. Yeah. And I got to a point in life where I was like, I'm good. I'm okay not being at an event. And they're older and they're just going to have to be okay with it because it's my mental health now. I did their mental health growing up, made their mental health strong, make sure they were good. Yeah, now I have to take care of it. Oh, yeah.
Definitely. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Like, that sounds like a lot to experience.
Oh, yeah.
And when you said, I'm like, the audacity is what I was thinking. Like, you see a whole person standing there,
Oh, I'm telling you.
just say hello. What does it take from you
No.
to just speak hello?
And now they speak like, and I'm like, why couldn't we do this years ago? Like I tried years ago, and like they're in their 30s now. It's like it's been years before we could get to this point. And I just think that we as adults should be able to move past our past situations. It may not be as easy for some, but you have to get to a point sooner for the kids, and they pick up on emotions more than we would ever think they do. So like my runaway place was to the shower. Like if I had a rough time, going to one of those events with everybody and nobody speaks to me, my runaway place was the shower. I would go get in the shower and I would just stay in the shower and cry. And by the time I came out, I was cleaned up. I was okay. It may have been allergy season, so I could blame my red eyes on the allergy season. So, I just dealt with it. But I will tell anybody it could damage you if you don't speak up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely could imagine. Just like you said, there's a point where you have to choose you.
Yeah.
It's like for a while you are kind of trying to protect the children and their mental health, just like you said, and making sure they feel like a whole person. They have their mom, they have their dad, we're showing up. And then it's like, I can't do it. Now you're old enough to understand
Yeah.
a little bit
Now
more.
it's like,
You
okay.
seeing it. So let's have a talk.
And I wanted to make excuses back then, but it was like, okay, I got to be there to support my husband. I got to be there for the kids. I got to be there to support my husband for the kids. And it was always, I was psyching myself up to be okay when I wasn't,
Right.
to just make it through for them. And I'm like, okay, it's time for me to take care of me.
Right. How did your husband? So, two things. Number one, I was like, Chrissy said 2022. She did not get married. She was married a long time. What
No,
year was it that you got married?
oh, no, 2002.
Exactly. Like, girl, you've been
My
married for a
apologies.
long time,
Yeah,
ma'am.
it's been 20 years. It's been
That's
20 years.
right. The kids were little and now they're grown people.
It'll be 21 years this July. 2002. It was a
Mhm.
two in it. I got it close.
I was like, Chrissy did not just get married. I remember those wedding pictures.
Yes. Oh
That's
my
right.
God.
Your son was little.
He was 5 when we got married,
And now he's a
and he is
grown
now
man.
26.
Exactly. He's like, I'm a man
Yeah.
now. How
Yes.
did your husband, what role, I guess, did he play when all of this was happening? Like, was he like the one who was trying to step in and like be protective over you, or like trying to be the peacemaker of like, let's just
I
get
think
through
he
this
was
day?
more peacemaker. Let's get through this day. Let's not fuss. Sometimes it was like, I don't even know if he realized. Like,
Mm-mm.
emotionally, like, I don't even know if he saw it. Because we as women can hide emotions
Oh,
so
yes, we
well.
can. We sure can.
So I just think it's a combination of wasn't aware, protective, not wanting to argue, let's just go or whatever. But Yeah.
And then there came a point where you were like, I can't, and you had to speak to him about that, or he was like
I
aware.
did. And I think it was and I think it was more of a he noticed it and like we had a conversation. And then it was, why didn't you tell me?
Yeah,
And I was like, well, I needed to be there for y'all or for you so you could go see the kids. And I know it's a long trip just in case you needed an extra driver. I mean, any of that, was really what I was thinking during those years. Like 6 hours there and turn around and come back 6 hours,
that's a lot.
12 hours on the road.
Yep.
I mean, because we literally would pick them up from school, like drive up that morning, be there by the time they got out of school, let them go get their clothes and stuff from home, and jump back on the road.
Wow.
We didn't stay overnight. We did turnaround. Like literally, we did turnaround.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. But I'm glad you guys were able to make it through those years of like, even though it was a lot to deal
Oh
with,
yeah.
you finally found your footing and your space of like, okay, we got to deal with this in a new way. This is how I'm going to deal with it. And
Hmm.
how did everyone start to react based on how you started changing?
Well, honestly, it's just starting to happen.
Mm,
So, like,
still years later,
oh yeah,
21 years later.
oh yeah. So, like, Thanksgiving last year was I'm not doing it anymore. It was like, I don't want to be fake anymore. I don't want to act like I'm happy in this space when I'm absolutely miserable. So, that's when it was Thanksgiving last year. So, like, we didn't go, we had a new grandbaby in April and June of last year. So, my set of twins both were expecting. And we were going to Columbia. The twin from Texas was coming to Columbia. We were all going to go. And something in me was like, nope, not doing it.
Mm,
Not doing it. And like I say, when I say just something in me, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm done.
wow.
I'm over. And I explained to my daughter and my son what the situation was, and they were like, we understand. I mean, you've done good all these years.
Right.
Like we really understand. And I really and like that was a big part of that transformation for me was they weren't like, oh well, you've been doing it all this time. It wasn't like that. It was like we understand. So that helped. I'm like,
Beautiful is that?
yeah, yeah. Oh Lord, my baby girl. Like I really thought she would have been the one to be like, well, you did it all this time, but she didn't. She was like, I get it.
That
It
was
was
relief.
time.
You were like, whoo,
Yeah,
that weight lifted.
that was my confirmation that I could have done it years ago.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that was my confirmation. That was like really like you could have done this years ago.
So you feel like you were holding yourself back. No one else.
Mama
Thinking
bear
though,
most
yeah, but
nights.
thinking that they weren't gonna be okay with it and they actually were
That
like,
too. Yeah.
we get it.
I mean,
We grown
they
now. We get it.
understood.
Believe me.
They heard the conversations on the other side because it wasn't like the conversations weren't spared on the other side. Like
Wow.
I've always been the protective type to like if I had something to say, it was never in front of the kids
That's right.
on both sides for the bio and the step kids. So it was like, yeah, that was a no-no. We weren't going to speak illy of either side. Let the kids form their own opinions,
That's
and
right.
when they wanted to express themselves about what they felt about the situation, we were there to listen. So, but it's like a weight lifted, like a huge weight, and I'm grateful for it.
I know that's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's huge. I could see that weight being lifted is like, oh my goodness. I think knowing that the kids were like, we good.
yeah, yep. And so let's see, Thanksgiving. Excuse me. We went up that weekend, but we waited until the other person left, like a day or two later, like after Thanksgiving. We went up and saw everybody, so we were still able to see everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I even had to. I can back it up a little bit. The twin girl got married the 2020, and she wasn't going to invite her biological, and I refused for her to do that. Me and her stopped talking because she didn't understand why did I keep pushing the buttons to why you want her there. Y'all don't even talk. It don't matter. That's your mom. I said if it was the shoes on the other feet, I would hope you would have the same respect for me. And because she is my child, she put all of us at the same table. And when I tell you, I wanted to go back to the hotel room and turn on the TV and just lay there and be relaxed. I could have, but I didn't because it
Right.
was her baby.
That's
Yeah.
right. And she finally like did the thing that you were saying to her was really important. So she was like, that was her gotcha moment, right? But it was also like for you, it was like, okay, maybe like almost like maybe this is the kind of discomfort she's feeling too of like having her mom here. Which, like the fact that you were open enough to say, I think that it's really important that you have her here. I know most of the time in these situations, the other party does not know that that's what's going on behind the scenes.
Not. It's many times like that I had to talk to them on the phone and be like, "Don't do that. That's your mom. You only have one. Don't do this. Don't, still be respectful." Well, I don't care. She said, "Your mother." Well, I'm just gonna come live with you. Well, it's not gonna happen in my house either. So pick and choose carefully
Right.
because I am very strict. So pick and choose wisely where you really want to be.
Right. You sure about that?
But yeah, it was hard for me to even say that to her because at that moment when I found out she wasn't going to invite her, it was like kind of a relief, but as a mom, it was a heartache and
Right.
heartbreak at the same time. So it was like, I mean, we battled it out. Like we stopped talking. My mom got sick when we were planning her wedding, and I didn't go to her dress. She had no clue why I didn't show up. Didn't check to see if I was okay on the road, and sent me a text message, and was like, I guess my day wasn't important enough to you. I figured this was a day we could share. When I tell you it made me furious more than heartbroken because I was going through something. Never once did you ask, am I okay? Are you still coming? Nothing. Just immediately chopped my head off and I shut down. My response to that text was, okay. I was at a convention in North Carolina for my business and my response was, okay. And my girlfriend there, she was like, you sure you okay? I was like, yep, I'm fine. She was like, you don't sound like it. I said, I'm fine. And we kept doing what we was doing. And like every 30 minutes, she would ask me, and I was like, yep, I'm fine. She was like, okay, I'm fine.
Exactly.
So,
Doing good and well,
I
you ain't fine.
I wasn't even going to the wedding. I didn't buy my dress till a week before.
Wow.
I wasn't going.
And this is all in the part of like you, the two of you not speaking because of the mom thing.
My mom was ill. She didn't want to invite her mom. And it was just a lot going on at that moment. And when my mom got ill, like everything stopped, like
Of course.
everything. So, but till today, she probably don't even know my mom.
Chrissy,
Mhm.
you did not share with her?
When I tell
Share.
you I was furious, I was furious. But now I'm at that point in my life that I could be like, on such and such date when you did such and such, this is what was going on. But at that moment, I couldn't because it wasn't going to be a nice encounter.
Because now you guys have a great relationship.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
you
we've
you've
always
always
had a
had
great
a right,
relationship, but just in that moment, it just went sideways.
right.
But yeah, I wasn't going. I told my husband he could throw it out.
Kids being kids,
Hmm.
selfish,
Not
not
knowing the
thinking
whole be
right. The
protecting
world
them,
revolves
and
around them.
yeah, and she's the
Why on
baby
earth
girl,
would
so
she ask you what was going on with you? Nothing could
that
possibly be
was
going on
important.
with you.
Yeah. Hmm.
So interesting. We talked about the thing you wanted to highlight, which was that people need to be open to communicating their feelings during
Yeah.
co-parenting. Share a little bit more.
Like I was saying earlier, I held a lot in. I think if you deal with a situation head on when it happens as an adult, no arguing, no none of that, not confrontational type communication, just an understanding of what you're feeling. I mean, I can't imagine what my husband was dealing with when our son was going with another male 19 hours away, so because he's very protective. So, just being able to communicate how you really feel, not hiding, because you do more damage than
Yeah,
anything to yourself or your relationship if that communication isn't open where you feel you can talk to each other. I mean, that's the biggest part of a relationship is the communication.
absolutely.
So that would be my big thing is communicate the truth, not hiding feelings, not trying to
Not I'm
protect the other
fine.
one. I'm fine. Yeah, no, not that. Just, I'm really not feeling this trip. Something doesn't feel right, or even if your emotions have to flow, tears or whatever, sometimes you just have to get it out.
Mm.
You bottle that stuff up, it does more damage than anything. Thank God I'm on no medication for any of this all these years. But people come out with high blood pressure and mental distress and
Mm-hmm.
mental health issues, and you just have to really put yourself first, even though it's a joint effort.
Yeah, I agree.
Really have to put yourself.
Listen, I'm glad I got to hear the story. Crazy thing is that it took 20 what 1 years
Ooh, yeah, 21.
for it to finally get to the place of at least we can be in the same room.
Yeah,
But
you're right.
21
You're
years, the
right.
kids are grown.
They
But
are. I
but
mean,
that
they
just
grew
goes
up
to show
fast.
you
Oh my
that
God.
like co-parenting never stops. It's just
No,
like
it doesn't.
parenting.
I mean, people feel, oh, 18 years.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Mm-mm.
no, no. The oldest is 30, 33, 34, 34, maybe 35. But yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, all of them are in their own space and kind of finally getting on their feet. It takes a while to get on your feet. I mean, 26 is not an age that I would say I was really on my feet. I was married by that time, but I wasn't really on my feet and stable.
Right.
There was still a lot of learning and growing. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you can learn and grow by yourself. You can learn and grow with a partner, but that phase of life until you get about 35, you're growing. And there's still a lot of growth from 35 to
That's
55,
right. That's right. We
So,
know it because even as we grow as adults, I just was having this conversation with my daughter saying, like, because she said, oh my goodness, I got these tattoos and now I regret it. It's just so, it was so silly. Like well, I told you, like, you were 18, like, you're not going to want what you want now at 18. You're not going to want that at 21. Sometimes, it might be a little later, but you're going to be like, your life is ever changing and you're not going to want. She was like, yeah, this, I could have just made this an Instagram post. Like, it doesn't even make sense that I put this on my body. And now it's here. And I was like,
yes.
yeah, but you're still ever growing. I was like, now she's about to be 30 Saturday, right?
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Our class reunion will be
30,
on our
30,
Thanksgiving.
30. So she was like, I said, you're about to be 30, but even at 35, you're not gonna be the same person that you were at
Oh,
30 and 40. Like, it's so ever changing that, like, I hear a lot of people say they're like, oh my God, I don't want to be 30, or oh my goodness, I'm turning 30. I'm like, I felt like those are my best years. I loved my, like, the 20s was total
30.
party and like do whatever and
You
kind of still
know,
figuring life out.
my party days was at South Carolina State, like
Right,
from
in
7 to
college.
8, whatever. So, yeah. And, I had my son when I was 20, and like life changed. And like
Hmm.
we went to the club, but it just wasn't the same. Because, I had a parent that was old school and
Right.
was like, going somewhere, you taking him with you. And I'm like,
Or
I'll
you
be at
got to
the
be
house.
back before a certain time.
Yeah, that part too. Oh,
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, Naima would get me out the house a lot. She was a great asset to me getting out the house because she knew my son, I wasn't going nowhere. He was
Mhm.
little, I was nursing. Nobody else could nurse him, so I had to be there.
Right.
So it was one of those deals. But it's a couple of years I wouldn't mind reliving. But yeah. But
Right.
if you go back and change something and then you
Right.
mess up everything you have now.
That's right. That's why I said, like, my life, no matter what obstacles or struggles I endured, I don't regret it. And I don't want to go back and there's nothing really that I would want to go back and do over, because just like you said, then that would change the
Would
course of
change
things.
everything. Yeah.
Change the course of
'Cause,
things.
like, I did college, I did military. I didn't do the marriage thing until this is my first marriage, and I promise you it's gonna be my last. I'm not doing this again. I'm not. I'm not trying to start over. People don't get it. It's a building process.
It
For you to go from one person and then get remarried, is you building all over again. I'm not saying that the first one gonna work or whatever, because I know people who have been through several marriages, but nah, I'm good.
you one and done.
One and done. That's it.
Like
I
that is
mean,
it.
I'm here to support whoever needs to talk about it, but one and done. And the biggest thing, even with that, is communication. Still,
Yeah.
whether it's kids, whether it's home life, finances, whatever it may be, it could be simple as who's gonna mop the floor this week. Communication.
Very, very important.
Yeah, communication is very, very, very important.
So let's
Even though
leave.
they get on your nerves.
Yes, right? Let's leave the listeners with one of your tips that you have for like anybody going on this journey, like something you learned on this journey.
As I've said from the beginning to the end, communication. Just for others, to be open to communication, be real about their feelings as they're happening, not waiting months and then go backwards because sometimes it could open that can back up of a wound or whatever. Try to combat it as it comes. Don't try to wait and go backwards because sometimes it could, a ripple effect and just start stuff all over. And with co-parenting and stuff, just be open to communication, be willing to travel, be willing to let people know this is not going to work. Don't just do it because you just doing it for the sake of whatever. And I mean, yes, put your kids first, but sometimes you have to say no.
I was hoping you said it. I was hoping you said that. Like, you sometimes have to tell people no. No is a complete sentence.
It is,
No, period.
period. Nothing else, nothing more, nothing less.
If you
No,
want to explain
that
it,
is,
sure. But do you have to? No, I just said no.
no, you don't have to.
That's my boundary. I'm saying
Yeah,
no.
that's it. And sometimes no and cutting it off at that saves your mental health. Sometimes when you go into explaining
Mhm.
and all of this, you have to run in circles because people really not listening to you anyway.
And then goes the back and forth.
Yep. And it's not worth all of that. I mean, high blood pressure, all kind of
Right?
other
No
issues can
thanks.
come from it. It's just not worth it.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I thank you, Chrissy, so much for
You're
sharing,
welcome
coming on here and sharing your story with me. Thank you, thank you, thank
for
you.
having me.
Of course, of course. Let the people know where they can find you on social media.
I am on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Linktree, LinkedIn. You can find me just about anywhere. My personal pages are Christina, Chrissy Stills, Massey. Any of those words will pull it up. Or my business as Gifted Hands by Chrissy.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank
Welcome.
you.
You're
So I hope
welcome.
you all enjoyed Chrissy's sharing her story. I hope you got some great tips from it because she didn't just drop one or two, like she dropped several tips. So I hope you took notes or at least rewind. Listen, if you need to go back and rewind and say, you know what, I heard her say, and I'm going through that right now. Listen, what she said is straight facts. She has
Look, I'm
experienced it.
always here.
She has been
I'm
through it
always
and you can hit
here.
her up. She will share more.
Definitely, definitely.
That is right. So all of you out there co-parenting, the struggle is real, but there are people around to help. Listen. I am going to pray me and Chrissy out of here. And yeah, let me pray. So, Father God, I just thank you so much for Chrissy being my guest. I always feel like life sometimes goes full circle, and just being able to have my childhood friend on as a guest is such a blessing. We've definitely been connecting over the past couple years more than before, and I feel like that's not a coincidence. I know that all of this is your will, and I'm just grateful to be a part of it and to be on this journey. I ask that you cover Chrissy and her family, the continued growing family, her children, her grandchildren, her husband. I feel so blessed to have heard the story, but also the evolution of the story and how where they were versus where they are now. I hope that Chrissy's story allows people to see that, yeah, it may take some time, but at some point you do get there. And even within the midst of it all, you might have to find your own way of coping, your own way to practice peace within yourself, creating those boundaries for yourself. I ask that you cover her family, bless them, protect them, give them the joy and the peace that they need in their family. I ask all these in your son's name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you again, Chrissy. Thank you, people, for tuning in. Make sure to listen into the next episode. Chrissy's information will be in the show notes. Thank you for tuning in. God bless.
Bye.